I did reach a new pinnacle in my Los Angeles sex life recently. I had to turn down a threesome because I couldn't find parking. We've all been there. You know, the two guys come out of their place and they're like, yeah, you can totally park in this red zone. And I'm like, I don't want to pay $76 for you to come on my back, you know? I can just go home and jerk off to wrestling like a normal person. Give myself the old iron claw, you know? My car was recently stolen, actually. This is true. And I didn't know what to do. It's really hard to live in this city without a car. And I've always been a spiritual person, and so I decided to pray about it. And I got on my knees and I said, God, I will do anything, literally anything, if you will give me my car back. And this is real. As soon as I said amen, the phone rang, and it was the police, and they had found my car. So now I'm not allowed to be gay anymore. Damn. Yeah, he got me so good. I was like, shit, keep the Honda Civic. Y'all ain't playing. When I first moved to LA, people got really freaked out when I told them that I believed in God. So I just started using the word energy. Now everyone's cool with it. You know, the universe controls my life. Rose quartz died on the cross for my sins. It's incredible. I'm not from here. I'm from Indonesia. Why are you white? Thank you for asking. Why is he white? I am from Indonesia. My parents are missionaries. I was born there and I lived there until I was 17, and then I moved to the States. So I'm literally like Lindsay Lohan in the movie Mean Girls. Also, I'm a drug addict, so I'm literally like Lindsay Lohan in real life. Also, my pubes are bright red, so I'm literally like... Also, I started the movie Herbie Fully Loaded. I'm just... Okay. People often ask me, like, Matt, if you're from Indonesia, why do you live in the States? And I will say one perk of being here is that it's not the death penalty to be gay. I can't quite put my finger on it, but something about that makes me feel safe. Sometimes it's hard to communicate to my friends here just how different it is to be a gay person in America than back home, you know? Because, you know, here we're in such a free liberal city. You walk into Target and there's mugs with our pronouns on them. There's shirts that say lesbianist. Taylor Swift is winning awards for writing songs about us. Harry Styles is pretending to be one of us. And it's difficult to communicate just how different it is, you know? Because growing up in a country where you can be killed for having sex is so hot. Ugh. You guys don't have that here. Seriously. It's like too easy. Everyone here needs like role play and fantasy and BDSM and like fisting and shoving rods and God knows where, just to feel like some sense of excitement or like danger. I'm like, oh, you're into choking? Maybe go to the jungles of Irian Jaya. I think you'll feel something. We don't take each other seriously here. Like, we take each other for granted. Everything's just too easy. Like, we have sniffies and grinder and blowies and scruff. Over there, you have half a second of prolonged eye contact. That's it. That's all you got. Over here, we're like, yeah, I don't know if I want to go over to his place. I mean, he's cute, but his dick is kind of weird. And over there, I'm like, yeah, I will let that tan Steve Buscemi lick my butthole at the chance that I will be murdered. It's just different. It's a very, very different experience. There was a big wealth gap growing up for me because when my parents were in America, they were poor. They were like borderline poor. But because of the exchange rate, like 100 US dollars is like 1.4 million Indonesian rupiah. So they moved there and became the 1%, right? So we're like the richest of the rich among like the poorest of the poor. Like I had flies on my face too, but it was from all the tiramisu. That's a dessert. You look poor. You're just from Highland Park. Okay, got it. My parents are missionaries. Strangely enough, I was conceived doggy style. Being a missionary is exactly what you would think it is, you know? It's just going to a remote village in the middle of nowhere and going up to a stranger and saying, hey, I have something really important to tell you. And they're like, what? And you're like, sex is bad. Sex is really bad. And they're like, thank you. Yes. Exactly what you think it is. It's a little more nuanced than that. I'm not smart enough to write a good joke about it, though. People ask me what it's like living in Indonesia. I have no fucking idea. You know, asking me what it's like to live in Indonesia is like asking someone who lives in Beverly Hills what Los Angeles is like. Right? They're like, oh, Los Angeles. Oh, the people there, they're so outdoorsy, you know? They love camping. They're just always putting up tents everywhere, you know? They love it. They love camping so much. They'll do anything to stay out of their houses. You know, they love it. They love shopping too. They're always pushing around those shopping carts. They're always looking for a deal, those Los Angelinos, you know. And they're also skinny. They're also open about their Ozempic use, you know. It's beautiful. You know, the other day I saw someone injecting Ozempic under a bridge. I just love the transparency. You're like, I feel like you're a little out of touch. And they're like, no, I'm a Los Angelino. My daughter goes to Harvard Westlake. You know, I'm downtown all the time, you know. The other day I was on the corner of Sunset and Doheny. Ghetto. I don't know what it's like to live in Indonesia. I know what it's like to live in an evangelical community in Indonesia. It's like living in an evangelical community anywhere in the world, you know? We wear denim jackets to church. Our worship music is written by the Backstreet Boys. We're not allowed to watch Friends because Rachel and Ross have premarital sex. And did you just say, oh my God? We don't use the Lord's name in vain, little faggot. We did not do that in this house. I was in Indonesia when 9/11 happened. Anyone else there? Okay. Just me. It was interesting. I remember the morning of, my parents woke me up and they're like, hey, Matt, like we're getting American cable because we have to watch American news to see what's going on. I was like, okay. And then later I went to school and all my friends were so nice to me. And they all came up and they said, hey, Matt, we're so sorry for what happened to your people and we're so sorry for what happened to your country. And I was like, wow, thank you so much, you know. Like, my life will never be the same after today because now I get to watch That's So Raven. It's beautiful. You know, if the Bush family didn't do what they did, I would never know that Miley Cyrus and Hannah Montana were the same person. God, I love the Disney Channel. They say to remember, and I know what I'll never forget. Dun, 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 dun. God, I love Disney. I moved to the States when I was 17 to go to college, and I went to a very Christian evangelical college. And I learned pretty quickly just how challenging it was going to be for me. Because I, as someone who grew up in Indonesia, I can never ask someone else where they're from. Just because my answer is always more interesting. Like, for instance, sir, where are you from? Indonesia. Something about it sounds good. When I moved to this conservative Christian evangelical college, I had a conservative Christian evangelical girlfriend. And I truly believe that evangelical communities are the best places for closeted gay men to thrive because you are revered for waiting to have sex until marriage. All right? You gotta lock that baddie down before you let her know, honey, I am not interested in anything you have. You're like, till death do us part. It's bad, it's dark. I mean, I had a girlfriend for 6 months. I did not hold her hand. I did not put my arm around her, and people would be like, man, now that's a man of God. He's waiting to kiss his wife for their wedding day. That guy loves the Lord. Like, Matt, we know the temptations. They're like, how do you do it? And I'm like, yeah, it's like crazy hard for me. I just am dying to, put my hand on her thigh. Oh, that would be hot. I'd love to just motorboat her, the sandbag, the breast. Oh, yeah, I love the women. Oh, this weight is killing me. There was another gay closeted guy in my college, and this guy was like gay, okay? Like if you saw his search history, it's like ASOS, Restoration Hardware, ASOS, like gay, like you cannot hide. And he ended up marrying his Christian girlfriend. And they're married today, and he says they're really happy. He also tells me that he's not allowed to watch wrestling because it's a trigger for him. She's addicted to painkillers. Sounds like love to me, And he tells me every year he loves her more than the year before. And I want to believe him, but I just feel so bad for her because I know that she's never going to be able to make him come the way that I did. There is no way in hell. He's laying up at night missing the old razzle dazzle. He's thinking about that good luck. There is no way in hell that woman enjoys sucking his dick as much as I did. I'm gay and I didn't even like his dick that much. There's no way she does. That poor woman. Pray for her. I moved to LA on a Christian film studies program to learn how to be a light in the industry. Hope I'm shining bright. The first week I was in Los Angeles, I got a message on one of the apps, and the guy said, hey, do you like to party? And I just graduated from Christian college. I'd smoked pot one time, and I was like, hell yeah, I party. So I drive up to the hills, and I go into this person's house. I'm like, he's probably a producer. I'm probably gonna get cast in a movie right now. There's just 8 guys jerking off together, and they're all smoking something. And so I join them, of course. And they're just passing the bowl from person to person. And it finally gets to me. And the guy, he pulls out a torch and he just starts lighting the bottom of it. And I'm like, all right, parties here are a little different. And I take one hit of it and I am fucking zooming, okay? I'm running around, I'm writing an Oscar-winning screenplay in the living room. I'm curing world hunger. I'm like, this place is lit. And I'm there for 36 hours, okay? Missed my internship, told my manager I had a flat tire for 24, okay. I get back to my place the next day, and my roommate's like, hey, Matt, is everything okay? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, you didn't come home last night. And I was like, dude, I went to this party. And I told him all about it, and I was like, dude, the weed in LA is crazy. You gotta try this stuff. And he was like, Matt, do you know why the weed in LA is crazy? And I was like, why? And he's like, because it's crystal meth. And I was like Breaking Bad? I had no frame of reference. What did I do? I knew it wasn't weed, but I was playing this game with myself where if I don't ask, it doesn't count, Never do that. God, I had no idea what I was doing. came out when I was in LA. I started going to a bunch of gay parties. I remember the first gay party I was at. I guess I said something off-putting to someone, and this girl goes, do you know who you just said that to? And I was like, yeah, his name's Kevin, right? That guy's name is Kevin. She goes, he's one of the biggest queens in the bear community in downtown LA. And I was like, oh my God. Can you name 4 more subgroups that no one gives a shit about? How many queens are there in that community, you know? I like how straight people and gay people have different terms for the same ideas. Like straight guys, you guys have the term Eskimo brothers. Are you, okay, he's familiar. Eskimo brothers, that's like when 2 guys have sex with the same person. They call each other Eskimo brothers. It's usually followed by like an insufferable joining of knucks in one of these. In the gay community, we don't have the term Eskimo brothers. We just say, these are my really good friends. It's amazing. I'm learning so much from being here. People often ask me what my relationship with my parents are like because they're missionaries and I'm gay and how does that work? And I feel really, really blessed because I think my parents are very like emotionally evolved. I have a really close relationship with both of them. And I feel very fortunate. And it just didn't make sense to me because growing up, people always said that homosexuality stems from a poor relationship with your father. And that doesn't make sense because my dad and I have great sex. You know, he's an incredible bottom. I'm kidding, he doesn't know how to douche. I'm joking. We just communicate very well. We have a very open relationship. You know, he's allowed to have sex with my mom. I love you, Mom and Dad. Yeah, unfortunately, I am usually attracted to older guys. It's kind of a bummer. I've been told my type is like Marlboro Reds with Hep C. You know, he's got to have sleep apnea. If he ain't wearing the Darth Vader mask when he goes to sleep, I'm out. I got to hear that, you know. Oof, that's going to get me hard as a rock. I am trying to mix things up, though. You know, I recently hooked up with a 21-year-old. You don't have to clap and do anyone a favor. As soon as he came over to my place, he told me his favorite movie was We Bought a Zoo. I was like, okay, I should have called it right there, you know. Yet I persisted. And we continued to hook up. We're like making out and we take our clothes off. And then he just like pounces on my bed on all fours and is just ass up, you know. And I'm like, oh Lord, here we go. I have to eat this kid's butt. Because if you live in a blue state in 2024, you don't have an option anymore, okay? If you don't eat ass, you're racist, homophobic, transphobic, anti-Semitic, you know? You ain't got a choice, sister. Buckle up. If I meet someone and they tell me they don't eat ass, I'm like, I don't want to know what you think about the police, you know? Not good, for sure. So I'm gearing up to eat this 21-year-old's beehole, and I'm just scoping out the situation. And I start to notice these like very tightly coiled bundles of toilet paper surrounding his beehole. It's just the worst case of clitty litter you've ever seen. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, man, do I need to tell him about this? And instead, I just decide to eat them. Because I would hate to make him feel uncomfortable, you know. He's going through a lot. He can cross that bridge at a later date. And then we watched We Bought a Zoo. Damn, that film slaps. Scarlett Johansson is in it. She plays a white woman. The range on that girl. I've never seen her play that role before. Incredible. I went on a date with a guy recently, and by recently I do mean that I wrote this joke 7 years ago. And I show up to the date, and he was like, hey, how was your day? And I was like, it was good, you know, I just came from therapy. And he was like, therapy? I was in therapy for 12 years, and it completely changed my life. I'm a totally different person now. I was like, wow, okay. And we just continued vibing. We had a few more drinks. We're just chatting back and forth. And then seemingly out of nowhere, he reaches his hand across the table and he grabs my arm and he goes, so we're gonna go to the parking lot and you're gonna fuck me. And I was like, oh, no. Like, he's joking. He's like being funny. Like, that's like a funny thing to say to someone, right? And then he reaches his other hand across the table and grabs my other arm and he goes, I don't think you heard me. We're gonna go to the parking lot and you're gonna fuck me in my car. And I was like, what were you like before 12 years of therapy? Like, I feel like there may be some more work to do here. I don't know. Sometimes I feel bad talking about sex so much as a gay guy because I hate when people assume that gay men are just these overtly sexual creatures instead of like emotionally complex dynamic beings, Like the other day I was cleaning this man's kitchen in my underwear for $300. But we talked about immigration reform the whole time, There I was, a tall white man on my hands and knees just scrubbing that fridge for this beautiful Salvadorian man. That's powerful. That's change, people. If you haven't noticed by this point in the show, I'm covered in very stupid tattoos. None of them mean anything. I have a duck on my arm that means I did Molly at a friend's house party. I got 9 tattoos during quarantine because I thought the world was ending and I was like, I guess I should just dispose of my body too. I got the knife emoji tattooed on my hand, and it was just because I was using the knife emoji a lot at that time. Like, I would just text people and I'd be like, hey, how are you? Knife emoji. And I just thought it was funny. And I was like, you know what? That is funny. I should get that permanently tattooed on my body forever. What I didn't realize was that getting a knife tattooed on my hand meant that for the rest of my life, everyone was going to assume that I am a chef. I swear to God, anytime I meet someone new, they go, where are you cooking at? I'm like, meth? So I decided to like underplay it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get another tattoo on my hand to just, make it less of a statement piece, sort of take some attention away from it. So I decided to get this really cute heart right next to the knife. So now everyone just thinks I love being a chef. It's my greatest passion in life. My aunt is a white woman named Karen, and she's in the legal process right now of changing her name. Seriously, just because she's like tired of being associated with poor behavior, So now she's going by Bill Cosby. I'm just kidding. She's going by Susan. I'm just kidding. She doesn't exist. You can just lie up here. As a black woman, I'm just kidding. Okay. I've noticed this new trend in Hollywood where they keep rebooting like shitty rom-coms to make like the woke version, and it's really sad. Like there was like What Women Want, and then they're like, wait a second, What Men Want? Okay, what's going on up there? Terrible movie. Then there was like She's All That, and they're like, wait, what if we made it about the guy? He's all that. Also very bad. You don't need to watch it. There is one of them that I'm really excited for, though. It's a reboot of the Heath Ledger, Julia Stiles rom-com that's coming out. It's 10 Things I Hate About They, Them. I cannot wait. That one's going to be so interesting. Demi Lovato is so close to getting the lead. Then she changed her pronouns again. I can't keep up with her. I love her. If she's in the crowd, I love you. Okay. She's not. Bummer. Diversity and representation, all that stuff is really important. I remember in 2016 when I moved to the States, Obama was president, and then he was president again. And then in 2016, Trump was running for president, and people got really upset about it. I remember friends of mine were like, he can't be president, he's racist, like what a terrible dude. And I felt really, honestly hurt and attacked. Because, you know, coming from Indonesia, up until that point in my life, I'd never seen a president who looked like me. You know, like up until then, it was like Asian guy, Asian guy, Asian guy. I moved to the States, Obama, black guy, black guy. I was like, give us a fucking chance, you know? And then Trump runs, they're like, he's racist. I was like, this has never been done before. You know, seeing him up there, I was like, wow, I did not know that tall white guys with small penises could be president. It was so inspiring. And then Joe Biden got elected, and I was like, okay, let's go, you know? You don't even have to know what country you're in to be president. So powerful. So important to see yourself in the media. You know, I think it's funny when people get mad that Caitlyn Jenner is on Fox News as a correspondent, because I'm like, that is like the best representation possible. Like, say what you want about the woman, but I'm like, the gay agenda, we fucking won. Like, there was a trans bitch on Fox News. Like, they're legitimizing trans. Like, that's amazing. Like, please mute it, but like, watch her. Like, that's incredible, you know? I don't want to hear the shit's coming out of her mouth. But I think it's amazing, you know? She's incredible. I just look at the ways, and I'm baffled. Just how incredible it is that she was able to transition, you know, from a dumb jock into a stupid bitch. I just did not see that one coming, you know. Somehow she still manages to be the least interesting Kardashian. I'm like, you transition, why am I more interested in your daughter's ass? Like, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. It's been an interesting few years politically. I know, I don't know anything about politics. What am I saying? Things have been quite crazy. I know Roe v. Wade was overturned, which is wild. Christians are obsessed with being pro-life, you know? Because they think that when you're pregnant that it's a real baby. And I do too, I just don't give a shit. But I always found it so interesting because growing up Christian, I was always told that if a baby dies, then it goes to heaven. So like, if you believe that and you're a Christian, shouldn't you be killing all babies like all the time? I'm just saying logically, if you believe that, I would be like fucking getting pregnant left and right and just shooting those suckers off, right? You were just making people, you're sending people straight to heaven. That's incredible. That's such a favor. It's guaranteed, you know? You're telling me I could have been up in heaven right now with Bob Saget and Farrah Fawcett? Instead, I'm on earth eating toilet paper from 21-year-olds' buttholes, you know? Like, that's mean, okay? I just feel like there should be like a Build-A-Bear workshop at every hospital, but instead of Build-A-Bear, there's just like a guillotine. There's like a sign that says, "Make an angel today." You know, you just wheel that sucker over there. Let's get him in the pearly gates. She's pregnant. Okay. Get her. Okay, no. She just found out. Okay. God. I'll leave you guys on this. I think it's really dangerous to be raised conservative because you're not well prepared for the real world. Like, you'll get put in actual situations and you don't know how to take them because you're not sure how things should actually be. Like, one of the first times I hooked up with a guy, he came over to my place and he was wearing a backpack, which like should have been a red flag right out the gate, you know? Like, he's got a backpack, send him packing, you know? But instead I was like, oh yeah, this is probably normal, right? Like, guys wear backpacks to go hook up with people, right? We start making out and he like puts the backpack down and unzips it. I'm like, okay. He starts pulling out these like plastic and metal panels. I'm like, yeah, this is normal. And he just like starts constructing like a seat that has a hole in it. And I'm like, what is going on? And he's like, oh, don't worry, it's just an assemblable toilet seat. I was like, right, okay, I'm new to the gay thing, this is normal. And he like has me sit down on this assemblable toilet seat that he has constructed in my living room so that like he can be below it, you know, just going down to town, and I can just be like sitting on it as so. Because in my mind, I'm like, this is what gay people do, you know? I'm like, is this normal? And he goes, yeah, I love being a toilet. And I'm like, toilet, got it. That's what people say they like, eating ass. So I'm sitting on the assemblable toilet seat, and he's underneath it just going to town, and he's like loving it, and he's just getting in there, and I'm like, whoa, like I didn't really shower that day, I'm like getting a little freaked out for myself, but he seems to be having the time of his life. And he's like getting deeper and deeper in there, and I'm like, okay, buddy, like you gotta slow down, like something's about to bust, And I start feeling like a bowel movement, and I'm like, this is not going well, okay? And I'm like feeling things moving, and I'm like, okay, I gotta go. So I like stand up, and as soon as I do, I feel a drop in my stomach, and this little nugget just peeks out between my cheeks and just like falls into his mouth. And I'm like freaking out, and I'm like, oh my God, what just happened? And he like squirms out from under the assemblable toilet seat. And he stands up, and he just says the three most horrifying words anyone could hear in their life. He looks at me and he goes, "More shit, please." And in that moment, I'm like, man, maybe God was right. Maybe being gay is bad. All right, guys, I've been Matt LeGrand. Thank you.